Lately, it's happening quite often. Ringing in the ears, dizziness, sudden short-time memory loss. For example, you suddenly forget what you came to get or what you wanted to say. I walked into the lobby of my place and I realized I'd forgotten which apartment I live in and on which floor. You may look at a book, you may read like 10 pages, and then suddenly realize you don't remember anything about you've read. And you realize you've not even been reading, and you've not even been thinking. From noon to 3 p.m., it's bad, and from 2 to 3 p.m., it's the worst. Suddenly, nothing works. It's like you are ready to drop everything and go to bed. A state of fatigue, of depression. For example, a friend of mine told me, I wake up and feel even more tired than before I went to bed, which means that her apartment was under treatment. Throbbing pains in head, feeling crushed after you sleep, craving for sleep during the day, insomnia at night, sudden depression, mood swings. Do you recognize your symptoms or those of your loved ones? Do you think those are only your ailments? If so, why are so many people are affected by these symptoms? What sort of epidemic is that? What is the origin of this mass illness? Let's get to the bottom of it. Most of us live in apartment buildings, in square apartments, with multiple communications within walls. Huge amount of communication towers, stations, and transmitters surround our houses. We live in the digital age, with the internet, cellular and long-distance communication. All the waves pass through our bodies. We consume food containing artificial products and chemical additives. Our body, weakened by these products, become even more vulnerable to various electromagnetic influences. All this is no accident. Indeed, first they had us moved into city high-rise buildings, promoting that this is exactly how civilized people are supposed to live. Then they made us addicted to TV, cellular communication, the internet, Wi-Fi, etc. They had us deprived of the very possibility to live a healthy lifestyle by prices and by the policies put in place. We have become a biomass that any time can be directed this way or that way, given a specific program, or even destroyed. And the greatest achievement of this technological progress is that average person is convinced that everything we have just described exists, but has nothing to do with him personally. It does not concern us that humans have their energy fields, that every second we transmit certain kind of energy into the world, that we influence each other, and that we depend on what happens in society. It does not bother us that energy-informatics, ways of influencing human consciousness, methods of working with energy fields, auras, and other non-obvious things have been studied and applied for decades, centuries, millennia, by many people with good intentions and also with not so good intentions. It does not bother us that all this knowledge has become weapons of mass destruction, and that they are in the hands of those who govern us. There is a program, Goal for 2020s. This is leak of information from the FSB. We received these documents from real people I know personally. The program provides that in 2020s, the entire population of Russia will be under mind control. That is, their brains will be controlled. That is not only what you say, what you see or hear, but also through your ears everything will be heard, through your eyes everything will be seen. That is the situation. What you say is known, but even everything you have thought will be known. Even what you have not formulated in words. This is the state I've been living for several years. A famous aphorism says that if you are not political, the politics affects you anyway. This also applies to energy informatics. We may think that it has nothing to do with us, but this knowledge and methods have been applied to us for a long time. Thoughts and feelings are material. If someone hates you, you feel discomfort. If someone annoys you, you boil inside. If someone loves you, you also feel love. If you are missed by someone, you also feel sadness. Human energy field is in contact with its environment, just like the physical body, and even more so, because there are virtually no physical barriers for energy. Barbara Brennan wrote about field interactions and healing methods based on field interactions. However, knowledge of subtle structures may be used for both healing and for opposite purpose. All our feelings and thoughts have been taken under control, so thoughts in your head are not always your thoughts. Plenty examples of inappropriate behavior are known, and people often cannot explain why they acted the way they did. The world was shaken in 2015 when Andreas Lubitz, psychopathic pilot, deliberately smashed jet into Alps, killing all 150 passengers on board. There have been more plane crashes resulting in inappropriate behavior of pilots who would not follow the orders of air traffic controllers, although no mental abnormalities had before observed in them. This is what happened when the Boeing crashed in Perm in 2008 and during the takeoff of the Yak-42 in Yaroslavl in 2011, in which the hockey team Lokomotiv was killed. It was not clear why the pilot made a loop with the Boeing upon landing in Kazan in 2013. Of course, we have official versions of these crashes, but they do not explain pilots' strange behavior, as if something had guided them in their actions leading to death. Or maybe that is what really happened. It is possible to manipulate another person's thoughts and actions remotely. Information about this has leaked in various interviews. In reality, it is very easy to program a person to perform so-called suspended actions. These are not isolated cases, that is, they work out programs on random people and then they launch them on an entire neighborhood, an entire city, or entire building. It depends on the goal they are pursuing. And of course, these things are paid for, and I think they are well paid for. Both a person can project thoughts in another person, and devices can project thoughts in one person and in a mass of people. The principle of action is simple. Every person and every device has a magnetic field that vibrates at a certain frequency. This is a scientifically proven fact and has long been applied in medicine. It is the basis for diagnostic methods such as encephalogram and healing methods such as magnetic resonance therapy. The Earth's magnetic field also has a certain frequency. Just imagine how much interference is caused to this field by the countless magnetic devices, including those with enormous power, such as HAARP station in Alaska and others like it. We know about HAARP stations in Alaska, Norway, Spitsbergen, Puerto Rico, in Russia near Tomsk and Vasilsursk, in Ukraine near Kharkov, in Peru and Tajikistan. This list may well not be exhaustive. No wonder that our planet is not well, and consequently the entire biosphere of which humanity is a part. Let's reason logically. If one can build devices with a frequency that heals, then one can also create devices that cause illness and even death, whether in an individual person, entire groups, or even a global scale. People who represent a danger because of their authority, their mental health, their lucidity, and because they are able to analyze a situation and criticize. These are the people who are first selected for treatment, terrible treatment. Some of them, we don't even know they are receiving treatment. We think people die of real, natural illnesses, like strokes or heart attacks. These illnesses can be easily caused, you name it. Cancer is also their favorite pastime. I would like to tell you about a case of non-contact murder. I had a friend, a psychologist, who had long studied the influence of psychotronic weapons on human consciousness, on the thoughts and feelings of others. She had studied energetically formed groups that oppress people's consciousness. Olga Chernova investigated the technologies they use to influence on people. She not only investigated these technologies, but also found ways to counteract them. Once she was conducting a study and felt a very strong influence, a very strong blow towards her. She suddenly felt unwell. According to what she said, she saw a bright flash before her eyes, and 15 minutes later, she complained of severe nausea and pain in the epigastrum, pressure in the area of heart. Of course, he took her to the hospital right away, but the doctors found nothing. They sent us home, but at night she felt even worse. We took her to the hospital again. She underwent very serious examinations, but the examinations and analysis showed no pathology. The doctors then simply refused to take her in hospital, but we, along with her relatives, insisted, and doctors were forced to keep Olga for 2 days, just for observation. They put her in cardiology department. Around 4 a.m. in the morning next day, Olga felt better. She stood up, then suddenly collapsed, and her breathing became wheezy. She died. That's why I have reason to believe it was a non-contact homicide, because she was in very good health at 50 years old. She could climb mountains for days on end. She walked a lot. She ran a lot. Therefore, as a conclusion, I can say that it was a non-contact murder. It was an energetic group that approached her and worked on her. The autopsy was performed by one of our acquaintances, and the autopsy found no pathology and no reason was found for her death. It was our professor who performed the autopsy and explained how it was carried out. He explained everything to us. And we were astonished by the fact that, how can I put it, on the corpse, on the dead person, there were no physiological signs of death. We found nothing. It was an ideal organism compared to those we had seen. Before this one, we had seen quite a few. Our professor was also simply shocked. And the doctor who was supervising the patient looked upset and even had tears in her eyes. She didn't understand how, because of what. She felt sorry for this person. What did you see by the heart? According to the pathologist, there was a spot near the heart, right? Yes. When we looked at the heart, as in all cadavers, we always discovered signs of a heart attack. Signs of a heart attack are white necrosis in the myocardium. But we didn't see that here. There was, as she said, a kind of hemorrhage. I don't remember exactly, but you don't die from that. What happened to Olga is simply unthinkable. This person literally burned away in a matter of hours. It was like an instant. And no one could explain how it happened. The doctors were in shock. Everything can be explained by these basic physical processes, these frequencies. And our organs emit certain frequencies that can resonate with frequencies we receive. And as a result, it is this way any organ can be deactivated. The person will die, for example, of a heart attack, and again, the death will appear natural. And people who don't know what's happened will say, well, he had a heart attack, he was sick. In reality, this person was induced to have the illness and a heart attack. That is to say, it was done artificially and for specific purpose. They don't like those who are progressive and who can make their discoveries known to others. This criminal activity will become punishable by appropriate penalties. People will be responsible for that. And they must be held responsible, because families, lives, health, that is, everything that is most precious to a human being is being destroyed by them. Do you think this sounds fantastic? Do you consider it a conspiracy theory? Who benefits from it? But surely someone consequently wants to unleash wars, including world wars, to plunge humanity into famine through financial crisis, to invent and deploy deadly weapons capable of wiping out all life on the planet in a matter of moments. If there are atomic weapons, why not a weapon based on electromagnetic vibrations? And this isn't just our thinking. Here are the words of Vladimir Putin. in 2012, then Prime Minister of Russia. The military capabilities of countries in outer space and in the sphere of information confrontation, primarily in cyberspace, will be of considerable, even decisive importance. And, in a more distant perspective, the creation of weapons based on new physical principles, radiation, geophysics, waves, genetics, etc. All this will make it possible to have, alongside nuclear weapons, new, high-quality instruments for political and strategic purposes. Following Putin's lead, Sertukov, then defense minister, stated that by the end of 2012, Russia would be preparing a program for beam, wave, physical, genetic weapons. Konstantin Sivkov, vice president of the Academy of Geopolitical Problems, doctor of military science, said, "The creation of weapons based on new physical principles is no secret and has been underway for a long time, including laser weapons with different tunings, geophysical weapons, as well as various types of psychotronic weapons, which involve influencing people's psychology through physical factors. That is, electromagnetic and sound fluctuations. There is nothing new in what Putin and Sertukov said. Do you think these are just prospects and research? However, the facts are convincing. Psychotronic war against us has long since begun."